This is another episode of What Books? Preston Blair. Preston Blair's cartoon animation is one of the key books to understanding a lot of the arts. And even if you're not an illustrator or an animator, especially in 2D, having an understanding of how everything works is important just as much. So even understanding, how drawing works and how all of the pieces that go into what you're making. Maybe you're not good at it, but you should try it. Anyways, to speed this along here, this book has some key stuff in here, like his famous bouncing ball. This is every animation student in history has done this, and if you haven't, you're not an animator yet. I think that's the rule. I've done this in 2D, I've done this in 3D. It's kind of fun to play around with and learn these basics of squash and stretch and all that fun, cool stuff. This book holds tons of cycles, so it's great for you to practice. If you are a 2D animator or a 3D animator, you can kind of see these cycles, you can redraw them, and you can do some simple stuff. All of this line of action and movement all comes into line psychology and composition stuff as well, but with your figure. Such a cool resource. See this here, how he's got this is what it looks like. I don't know, it's just neat. Again, this kind of thing here, especially if you're doing motion graphics, After Effects, anything like this, so understanding how this works and anticipation, action, reaction. There's a cool story Chuck Jones talks about in this book over here, you might see. But there's an episode of Bugs Bunny where he draws back so far in that anticipation pose that he goes all the way up the wall. That's how much anticipation he loads before he moves. It's pretty cool principle. And then kind of the coup de grace coming up here. As you can see, there's just tons of cool stuff in here. Wait, this thing here, I'm going to get this part here. I believe there's a story about Brad Bird where he was working with some 3D animators. It's probably on The Incredibles. And I think he's talking about a documentary, and he had him go back and watch old 2D animation because they didn't understand weight. They didn't understand how to make stuff look heavy. And after they went back and looked at all this cool 2D animation stuff, his animators understood weight, and then they use that, and it's so critical in that movie because there's that scene where he has to Mr. Incredible has to lift that big giant rock or something, right? And so it's got to look heavy. It's got to look like he's incredibly strong. So it's kind of a cool thing. And then more walk cycles, tons of practice. I mean, you can just trace this stuff and learn lots and lots of stuff about it. How to do pretty girls. And then this bit here, right, that we talked about, I posted this on my LinkedIn. It's blown up 120,000 impressions and thousands of views. So anyways, good, bad. That's why these old books are awesome. Preston Blair cartoon animation.